And look at that, just like that, we have audio on the stream. Priorities, man. Learning how to run support. Right, everybody wants to be the center of attention. The glory hog, if you will, the ham. Seldom do they have any actual skill or talent to back it up. There are exceptions, but just about every good leader understands support, right? Some of the best cats I ever worked for understood support. They understand how to read ahead. They understand how to read events, read time. Man, it's really hard to care this morning. I mean, voice in the pen is important to me. You know how you can tell? I'm there at 3. The gig's not till 7. Latest I've been there is 4. Somewhere between 3 and 4. Because I want everything to be as good, as nice, as pleasant, as perfect as possible before the band comes in, musicians come in and ruin it all. But I'm there early, even if I'm exhausted or in pain, or both. And I make it a point to make sure that every musician that walks in there, whether they're a certified star or if it's their first time on the stage, I want it to be the most pleasant, wonderful experience they could ever have. And then there are times where people don't bother to show up for an hour or two after the event has started or whatever. I guess it's a self-awareness thing that drives it for me. Because I want the experience for both the people performing and the people enjoying to be the highest level possible, even if we're, in a small club. And when it's important to somebody, right, even though I didn't like washing dishes, I still showed up 15, 20, 30 minutes early easily every morning because I didn't want to rush into work. I didn't want my experience. I didn't want people to experience me not doing what I can the best. Doesn't mean I have to like it. But if the shift starts at 8 o'clock, you should be there well before 8 o'clock so that you can discharge everything else. So that when you go into the gig, your head is clear, your plate is clear, and you're able to support others in their success, right? And not just individuals, because it's a group. That's the thing about being in symphony as a child. There were times my cello part was as boring as you can imagine. However, when I played my part correctly and with the intent, it melded well with the other 3 players, string quartet being one of my favorite formats of music. Yeah, the melody is carried by the violinist, but that melody would be rather empty, hollow, if you will, without the instrumentation behind it. And as boring as some of those parts may be, they fit. And as much of a drag as it may be to show up ahead of time, it can make the gig better. And it's just a matter of importance. You can show a person what's important to them without ever opening your mouth. Because there are a lot of times I'm getting tired of the words. I'm getting tired of people talking about crap they don't understand and have no experience with. If you want to show me you're serious, show me. Apply yourself. If it's important to you, it will matter. And if it matters to you, then you will do what it takes to be there on time. You will do what it... I mean, there's so many... I'm sorry, it's a Friday. And my lamentations are not necessarily directed at any, it's just the whole support thing. Not a lot of people understand that in order for things to work, whether it's your restaurant, just whatever, people have to be involved and engaged. And it seems like a lot of the people being hired, a lot of people in these gigs just aren't applying themselves and expecting others to apply themselves instead. Dedication, commitment, these are all aspects of priority that we can see. These are demonstrative aspects. Not a lot of this. Me first. I'm important. Pay attention to me. Man, I'm really glad the back half of this show is going to pick up. We're going to have Matt Miller from Zero Cancer, I believe. I've forgotten the actual topic of it all. The Zero Prostate Cancer Run Walk. I wanted to get it right because zero by itself usually doesn't have the highest level of meaning involved. So, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a bit of a break and then have another short segment before we bring on Mr. Miller. Yeah, we'll see you guys in just a minute. I mean, like I said, it's Friday, right? So, what are you going to do? Fire me? Spank me? I didn't think so. Ha! Of course, I did that to myself. Look at that. All right. The Asylum, Your Refuge in a World Gone Mad. Be right back after these messages. Don't go nowheres.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. One student is dead, another hospitalized, and a third under arrest after a stabbing during a fight yesterday at Northside High School in Jacksonville. Police Chief Mike Yaniro said Thursday that 2 minors were taken to the hospital with injuries and that one later died after the attack. He said a teacher was also injured but not stabbed. The police department said later Thursday that 3 teens have been charged. Back in the Cape Fear, we are hearing from one of the 3 Sunset Beach police officers treated for secondary exposure to drugs after making an arrest earlier this week. On Sunday, the officers responded to Seaside Road after getting reports about 2 people possibly under the influence of drugs. Both officers wore latex gloves when they came in contact with the suspects and an unknown substance. Officer Anthony Covelli got sick when he was driving one of the suspects to the Brunswick County Detention Center. The incident is still under investigation. The unknown substance was sent to the SBI in Raleigh earlier this week. Some mosquitoes recently trapped by New Hanover County Public Health have tested positive for West Nile virus. The department says the public should not be alarmed, but should be vigilant in protecting themselves from mosquito bites as much as possible. The traps were in 4 different parts of the county: Castle Hayne, near Greenfield on Front Streets, the Middle Sound area, and near Snow's Cut. 2 of the areas are scheduled to be sprayed this week and one next week. The Castle Hayne spot is a heavily wooded area. And if you see smoke on Pleasure Island today, don't be alarmed. A controlled burn is scheduled to take place at Carolina Beach State Park. That burn will start around 10 o'clock near the entrance, including the eastern portion of the Sugarloaf Trail around Lily Pond, Grass Pond, and the trails across from the Visitor Center. The park will remain open with the marina, campground, and trails away from the burn area operating as normal. For more on these stories, you can head on over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 3 forecast. Another toasty one on our hands today as our high temperatures get back up into the upper 80s, but I think we're going to see a great deal of dry time today all the way through the holiday weekend. Not much in the way of wet weather today. Coastal areas will get into the middle 80s for high temperatures. Moderate risk of rip currents for east-facing beaches today, so keep that in mind if you're making plans to head out to the coast. As for tonight, conditions are looking pretty good for high school football games taking shape as temperatures drop down into the low to middle 70s. Get your full forecast from WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, located at 8210 River Road, Southport, is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, with the Tackle Box open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6. Marine Service Pro is a full Suzuki and Tohatsu dealership. They deal in pre-owned boats, full service and repair, with certified technicians in all engines, and fiberglass specialists. The Tackle Box offers fresh, local seafood, live bait, a tackle shop, and fish packing and shipping. They also offer a full-service U-Haul dealership. Spend time with Leon or Jenny for one-stop shopping at Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, 8210 River Road, Southport.
Join us this Tuesday at 6 p.m. on All Things Brunswick. Our guest is Brian Wilson, who is running for District Court Judge for Brunswick, Columbus, and Bladen counties. All Things Brunswick, Tuesdays, 6 p.m.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. Crazy, crazy morning. Crazy morning. Welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. BigTalker.live is the website. Please visit, download the app for the Android and iOS devices. You can then pair that smart device with your automotive entertainment system. Take the Big Talker anywhere, everywhere you want to be. Peruse the schedule of content so you know when your favorite program will be streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or on the Listen Live tab on the website. Or on the audio side of the app. Yes, we are a 24/7 internet radio station. We carry about 7 to 10 hours of original North Carolina singer-songwriter music in the voice and the pen. And we have fantastic shows like Guns, Politics, Freedom, Living Fit After 50, All Things Brunswick, Consumer Choice Radio. And of course, one I want to mention now, Mr. Donaldson's Heard Tell Radio every morning at 7. This is how someone can tell you without telling you that something is important to them. Because ever since I stole this station, I think it took a week after I stole the station, and Andrew has been providing daily content. Because the station is important to him, and he knows that the station needs good content. Same with Paul Vallone, Guns, Politics, and Freedom. And previews on Saturdays, I think. Don't quote me on that. Go to the website. That'll tell you. And Yael Ossowski and David Clement. They understand the station is important to them as well as their message, so they are willing to work. And the Defenders. I mean, Defenders Live. what do they call it, DOAE on Facebook or whatever. And they are on our station every night, 9 to 10, Monday through Friday, providing content for us because they understand our station and our message and our, position is still very, very important. It's part of their priority. Same with myself. I think this station is very, very important and it needs support from within and from without. So anything and everything you want to do to help support this station is more than welcome. Even if it's just calling our sponsors and saying, hey, thanks for sponsoring the Big Talker. It's important. It is. Every outlet for people to certainly bring music, bring ideas, solutions, policies, plans. They're all good. And I'm excited to have a guest with us here in a bit, Mr. Matt Miller from Zero Prostate Cancer. They have events going on all the time, and I believe he's here to talk about the project itself, as well as some of the events. And there's a lot of information here that I don't think I can digest. I mean, just some of the information they have on the website in snippets, which is easy for little brain people like me to handle. Let's see. Zero's impact on where the money goes, but I don't see money numbers. But I do know they've helped over 48,000 men. Helped with the assistance of the copay program. More than 130,000 men tested for free with our mobile testing units. Over 2,500 educational materials provided to men and families. Over 10,000 men are alive due to reduced prostate cancer mortality rates. There's a run walk this month, September 25th, in Wayne. I guess I don't understand. But that's why we're going to have Matt Miller to unwrap some of this, because this is like its own news site. There is a lot of information here, baby. So, yeah, you're going to want to tune in about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes when we have Mr. Miller on. And I've participated in a number of, you would find this funny, I'm a smoker, and I've done like 5 lung association events, including a bike trek across Kentucky to Shakertown. That was hilarious. It was a lot of fun. I completed it. Yes, I smoked through the entire event, not like every minute. Oh, hey, look, Ronnie's here with the number one smoker, too. So, yeah, I'm bike trekking across the Kentucky landscape on a mountain bike. Everybody else has road bikes. And the reason I did this was simple, right? Because, I did it as part of a TV, our entire crew at the station. Well, not the entire crew. There was a couple that I wouldn't trust with a bicycle. But anyway, everybody else is on the road, and I'm able to go explore, right? As long as I end up at the checkpoint before lights out, I still get fed, I still get to participate. But you don't have to ride with the crew. I'm not that good. I'm a smoker, for Christ's sake. I enjoy a bicycle now and again, and I did. I would just take off early in the morning with the first pack, and after, 5-10 miles, pull over to the side, have a soda, smoke a cigarette, enjoy the view, climb back on my bike, get in with the next pack or whatever, and just, I was there for the fun of it. Raised a lot of money and some awareness and such, and I think that's what Mr. Miller is going to chat with us about. And that'll be fun. And here's the other side of it, to expound on the previous lamentation, that a person's priorities, what matters to them, is evident in who they are and how they behave. If they show up to events an hour ahead of time or a half hour ahead of time, they're moving it. I knew a lot of Marines that smoked as well, man. I don't know how y'all did it. I mean, to me, it's like a reward, but I don't eat candy bars or whatever. So, at the end of, 5-10 miles and whatever, I'd pull over because, what are they going to do? Dock my pay, right? I'm just there pedaling around on the weekend, sleeping in a tent that they're, or whatever little joint they had for us. At the end of the ride, it was sweet. We were actually in Shakertown, man, and they, we got the full VIP treatment. It was sweet. And there were some serious bike riders up in there that just look, they had the full bodysuit things on with the slick little helmet, right? And I show up in my beat up. I mean, because I used this mountain bike through college. I beat this thing to hell. Yeah, tires on it were probably 20 years old, right? Older than some of the people that were in this contest. And of course, I'm riding around in like denim shorts and the t-shirt they gave me, right? It's not like we packed a whole lot of, we're on a bicycle for Christ's sake. What was I going to take? I took a couple of lighters and a pack of smokes and a fresh pair of drawers. That's about all I needed. I'm just going to be sweating on a bike for 3 days. That was the whole thing. I don't know, expectations. But I was there early. I was up with the first crew. I was out. I mean, it was a lot of fun. But there was a lot of judgmental, where the first guy's going across the line, and they're like, yeah, we win. Relax, man. Relax. It was a charity run, right? It was good practice. Congratulations. You did a good job. But to kill yourself to be first in that just seems a little ludicrous. I could be wrong. I don't know. I do things differently. But yeah, people will show you what's important. They will tell you their priorities without ever opening their mouth. Right? A lot of our politicians, this whole thing, and this is where I think we have a problem in our society. But, well, late night hosts, right? Late night political comedians that are topical in nature and they're making jokes on what's going on. And what that does is prevents us from getting too angry. Because if the stuff that they were making fun of was not being made fun of, but certainly used to rile up a crowd, say, early January, right? The late night hosts keep us laughing at it. But they fail to remind us that this is all performative in nature. You can tell by what these people do, where they appear, how often they're there, when they show up, how they show up. Do they show up to a vote late with their vote already in, or are they there early to discuss it with people? Right? I mean, if you want to see what's really important to your politician, find out what they're doing the week after they're elected. Right, the first 2 days, easily, they're just drinking, partying, and celebrating. After that, the very next thing they're doing is raising funds and awareness and campaigning for the next election, because now that they're in, they no longer need a marketable skill or any kind of oversight. They can just willy-nilly what they want to do. And I think we need to address that. I think we need to use that as a voting scheme, because everything that they say we know is complete BS and a lie, right? They're just saying crap to get votes. And if we want to rise above that, then we need to be responsible ourselves to find this information and go after them. Ah! This is why I need a morning host. Because I can't do 15 things at once. I'm already doing enough just to run the damn station. Sorry. That's, if it matters to you and it's important to you, you'll do something about it. You'll participate in your own success. That's sort of my thing, man. Doing what we can with what we got, ladies and gentlemen. Working on some improvement, working on some builds, working on some new stuff. Look for some new shows being streamed on the Big Talker platform. The network should be taking on a whole lot more material coming up in the next few months. Some of it is going to be pre-canned, so it's not like it's going to be, fresh seafood right off of the dock. Sorry. In order to get some of these things moving, I have to take what I already have, shove it down the pipe, and see if I can't get this machine started. I've been getting some good response, replays, reactions from shows like When Radio Was, Today's Homeowner. A lot of compliments on running the voice and the pen in the mornings. And for your overnight shift. And, of course, if you're driving around, get a hold of me and we'll get you straight into the voice and pen radio so you can listen to that. I take performances from the previous month and load them in on a rotation. So each artist has a good 20-minute chunk. And every, 4 hours it'll repeat. So you get the best of the local singer-songwriter scene as well as the best of some of the best regional talk radio, even if it's coming from Vienna, Austria. And somewhere up in Canada. I don't know how they do their addresses up in Canada. That's just like nutty. But one of them's up in Canada. I think Heard Tell producer Andrew Donaldson's up in the Vietnam area. I'm not sure where Mr. Vallone is. I know All Things Brunswick is coming out of Bolivia, at least. Right? So, we're expanding our territory, if you will, of influence and conversation. In fact, some of that even covers Carolina Beach. Just had their parking situation resolved to some degree. Not as good as it could be, but it's better than it was. How's that, baby? That's some kind of progress. And I tell you what, a lot of red shirt wearing people may think that progress or progressive is a bad word, but I tell you what, we didn't get to Mars in a single jump. It took progress. It took sometimes baby steps. It's true for yourself. There was a time when you couldn't use a spoon unattended. This is true for all of us. There was a time we couldn't quite operate the toilet. So it's time to stop trying to pretend that we're better than anybody else or more important than anybody else. There's so many fallacies in how we relate with each other that it's just beyond aggravating. We can do better. Do you know how I know we can do better? All I have to do is look at our space program. I only have to look at the internet. I only have to look at the accomplishments that mankind has achieved to this point. Independent of politics, independent of religion, independent of anything else other than brain power. I'm looking at you, Orville and Wilbur. That's right. We wouldn't have this imaginary supersonic boom transport BS if it hadn't have been for a couple of bicycle guys slapping a couple of wings onto a lawnmower and saying, hey, this'll work. And it was actually their it wasn't even the flight that they had planned to say, look, we can make this thing fly. They were just checking things out, and it was flying, and it was like, okay. Mission accomplished. Let's go home. And it started a revolution in industry, and just an era that has not ended. It has only expanded. And if you were to take the term in a different direction, it has exploded, which is exactly how rocket engines work. It's a controlled explosion over a long period of time that gets you up in the air. So with that, I think we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we should have Mr. Miller with us. Right? Gosh, I hope so. It's been a long week, so I've forgotten more than I remember. So if he's not there, we'll make adjustments. We'll do something. It's not like we're going to die on one Friday in the middle of the year. I mean, everybody's Labor Day'd out or whatever is going on this weekend. I mean, I picked up a number of gigs. So apparently there's some holiday on Monday because the banks won't be open. So yeah, whatever. Oh, that's right. This is the last weekend people are supposed to, wearing white after Labor Day. Is that it? Now you can wear white? Or is it only... I don't understand, man. I'm having a hard enough time understanding the protocols that make radio work. So, now that I've got radio working, I think we're going to take a quick break, and hopefully when we come back, we'll have a guest. And much better content on the Asylum coming up here in a minute. Don't go nowhere. The Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. We'll be right back. You're tuned in to the Big Talker Network, Wilmington, North Carolina's premier internet station for news and talk radio programming. Find us online at bigtalker.live.
Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, located at 8210 River Road, Southport, is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, with the Tackle Box open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6. Marine Service Pro is a full Suzuki and Tohatsu dealership. They deal in pre-owned boats, full service and repair, with certified technicians in all engines, and fiberglass specialists. The Tackle Box offers fresh, local seafood, live bait, a tackle shop, and fish packing and shipping. They also offer a full-service U-Haul dealership. Spend time with Leon or Jenny for one-stop shopping at Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, 8210 River Road, Southport.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. One student is dead, another hospitalized, and a third under arrest after a stabbing during a fight yesterday at Northside High School in Jacksonville. Police Chief Mike Yaniro said Thursday that 2 minors were taken to the hospital with injuries and that one later died after the attack. He said a teacher was also injured but not stabbed. The police department said later Thursday that 3 teens have been charged. Back in the Cape Fear, we are hearing from one of the 3 Sunset Beach police officers treated for secondary exposure to drugs after making an arrest earlier this week. On Sunday, the officers responded to Seaside Road after getting reports about 2 people possibly under the influence of drugs. Both officers wore latex gloves when they came in contact with the suspects and an unknown substance. Officer Anthony Covelli got sick when he was driving one of the suspects to the Brunswick County Detention Center. The incident is still under investigation. The unknown substance was sent to the SBI in Raleigh earlier this week. Some mosquitoes recently trapped by New Hanover County Public Health have tested positive for West Nile virus. The department says the public should not be alarmed, but should be vigilant in protecting themselves from mosquito bites as much as possible. The traps were in 4 different parts of the county: Castle Hayne, near Greenfield on Front Streets, the Middle Sound area, and near Snow's Cut. 2 of the areas are scheduled to be sprayed this week and 1 next week. The Castle Hayne spot is a heavily wooded area. And if you see smoke on Pleasure Island today, don't be alarmed. A controlled burn is scheduled to take place at Carolina Beach State Park. That burn will start around 10 o'clock near the entrance, including the eastern portion of the Sugarloaf Trail around Lily Pond, Grass Pond, and the trails across from the Visitor Center. The park will remain open with the marina, campground, and trails away from the burn area operating as normal. For more on these stories, you can head on over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 3 forecast. Another toasty one on our hands today as our high temperatures get back up into the upper 80s, but I think we're going to see a great deal of dry time today all the way through the holiday weekend. Not much in the way of wet weather today. Coastal areas will get into the middle 80s for high temperatures. Moderate risk of rip currents for east-facing beaches today, so keep that in mind if you're making plans to head out to the coast. As for tonight, conditions are looking pretty good for high school football games taking shape as temperatures drop down into the low to middle 70s. Get your full forecast from WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, located at 8210 River Road, Southport, is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, with the Tackle Box open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6. Marine Service Pro is a full Suzuki and Tohatsu dealership. They deal in pre-owned boats, full service and repair, with certified technicians in all engines, and fiberglass specialists. The Tackle Box offers fresh, local seafood, live bait, a tackle shop, and fish packing and shipping. They also offer a full-service U-Haul dealership. Spend time with Leon or Jenny for one-stop shopping at Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, 8210 River Road, Southport.
Enjoying Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to the program whenever you want, however you want, by asking for Big Talker.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge here in a world gone mad right here on the Big Talker Network. Don't forget to visit Big Talker Live, bigtalker.live, the website. Download the app for Android and iOS devices. And if you pair that smart device with your automotive's entertainment system, you can take the Big Talker anywhere and everywhere you want to be. And of course, if you're on the Facebook, Twitters, and the YouTubes, you get to see this handsome young man, Mr. Matt Miller, I believe. I hope I spelled all that right. But he is with the end of prostate cancer, and I understand I'm just now actually learning, because I'm not a smart guy. The history actually involves a Chad.
Yeah, that's correct. That's
You're
correct.
saying
So,
a neighbor of his.
yeah, a neighbor of his, Lyle Like, started this back in 2017 as Run for Her Life.
Man, so 5 years in, you have a national run in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh?
We actually have 48 this year across the nation. Yep. So it's a national run walk series for prostate cancer.
So all the contiguous 48 states all have a run on the same day.
Well, we have multiple in different states. So, I have 4 in North Carolina.
Because suddenly I'm thinking of We Are the World, right? And everybody's going to hold hands across the country on the same day and run. That'd be awesome, though.
Yeah, it would be. They're all on different dates, but yeah, it is. Most of them are in the fall.
So it's not too hot, not too, you get to sleep it off at the end of the night. And it's also a good excuse to get pasta.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I did a bike trek I was relating to earlier, and they did serve a whole lot of pasta.
Yeah, load up on those carbs, right?
Now, is it like a 1 day, 20 mile, 5 mile, 3 mile?
No, so we keep it pretty simple. It's a 5K with a 1 mile walk option. So it's very family friendly. It's nothing too intense.
So you could even take a stroller with you.
Oh, absolutely. Stroller,
Oh, okay. So it's not like Boston Marathon where everybody's competing.
No, it's not too competitive. We do have a clock, but it's not chip timed or anything. It's really more of a fun run. It's an opportunity to get people together to recognize, prostate cancer awareness. And actually, September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, so it's perfect timing for this.
Now, is it also a fundraiser in a way?
It is. So far we've raised a little over $42,000, and we're hoping to get to 50 with this one in Wilmington. And what it does is the fundraiser actually supports Zero's patient support programs. So we have a financial assistance hotline where people can get help with insurance. Really everything from insurance to personal finance to just navigating things. And they also have emotional support services. So we do things like online support groups. We have in-person support groups for men and their families. And we also have a transportation program to help people get to treatment. So that's where all that funding goes.
And that's because most people have had somebody in their lives experience cancer. And the small things, right? We all know about the big things like the cost involved and the amount of time and the devastation to the human body. But it's the little things like getting there with somebody who understands. Like getting to a chemo treatment with Uber is going to be incredibly disconnected, rather than somebody who's aware of what's going on is actually providing a type of support they don't even realize they may need.
Yeah, and what we found, the reason we started that transportation program was that 50% of the people that called into 0360, our helpline, they said transportation was hard. If you can imagine, you're going through all this and then even getting to treatment is a problem. That's just extremely stressful for people. And so this is a way that we're able to help.
And the costs involved with everything else, that $50,000 is a drop in the bucket compared to what's going on. So
yeah, but it all helps. It all helps.
Just looking at your front page, because again, I'm not the brightest, most in-depth person in the world. Just a lot of what your programs are. I'm seeing 4 of them here. Mobile testing units.
Yeah, we usually partner with hospitals where we can across the country. They usually have the mobile testing units,
right.
But it costs money for them to go out and do things. So sometimes we'll partner with them. A couple of our run walks across the United States will actually have the testing unit there. And what most people don't realize is that part of testing for prostate cancer is actually a blood test. It's called the PSA test. And so, we can do that pretty much anywhere as long as there's a qualified provider to do that. So that is one of the things that we do. But generally, we're advocating, that people know their risk factors and get screened when appropriate for them. And I did kind of just want to go over some of the statistics about prostate cancer. So it's 1 in 8 American men. And if 1 in 8 sounds familiar, it's because we talk about breast cancer a lot, right? And breast cancer is 1 in 8. Prostate cancer is 1 in 8. And for that, we have 3.1 million men actually living with prostate cancer in America right now. This year, more than 268,000 men will be diagnosed. And the good news is that if you catch prostate cancer early, the 5-year survival rate is over 99%. But there are a couple populations that really need to pay a little bit more attention. And African-American men are 1.7 times more likely to get prostate cancer. And because of health disparities, because of our health equity situation, they are almost 2.1 times more likely to die from prostate cancer. So African-American men need to get tested maybe a little bit early, particularly if they have a family history of the disease. If you have a father or brother, anybody in your family that's had prostate cancer, you should start to get checked early. And the recommendations are usually about 50 years old is when guys want to get tested. And that drops down to 40 if you have some of these risk factors.
So it's not a foul to go early.
No, it's not. And I mean, it's a test. Even if you are a little younger and, you go get this test and, then you have a baseline. So I'm not a doctor, but talk to your doctor. Everybody's different. Everybody's situation is different.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's really important to know as well. There's no, one size fits all. You may have more risk factors and you should go early and you should ask for it. But that's up to you and your doctor about how you go about that.
And to let people know that the getting tested part, a friend of mine was in his mid-30s when he had to go through the process, the pellets, I think they had to...
Yeah, radiation.
Yeah, and then the actual surgery and the post and all that. It was heartbreaking in a young person, but it's heartbreaking in anybody. I mean, so the age range is a current statistic, but it can affect anyone.
Right, exactly. And I did forget to mention in here, and this is important too, veterans, we had said 1 in 8 for average Americans, 1 in 7 for African Americans, and then veterans are 1 in 5. So our veteran population really is affected by this. And there's several working theories, obviously, things that they're exposed to that the average person is not. But that's something to be aware of as well.
Man. And just from looking at what some of the accomplishments y'all have done, helping over 10,000 men who are alive due to the reduction. So you guys are involved in as well as research in some ways?
Yes. Yeah. So we're not as heavily into research as some of the other, foundations that exist. We really focus on patient support, but we also focus on government advocacy. So there's a component of this where, right now the PSA test is not free, right?
Right.
In most situations, you're going to have to pay for it. Several states, we've been able to get them to make the PSA included with insurance. Essentially, insurance has to pay for your PSA testing. Every year, there's a big DoD budget, and about $110 million goes to prostate cancer research. And so one thing that we do every year is put together a group of volunteers to go make sure we talk to congressmen and senators and make sure that funding for research continues each and every year. So there's a lot of different things that we do with that. We work with the CDC, particularly on some information that to get out to the public. So lots of different little things in the advocacy space that we do. And then, of course, we partner with other organizations to fund certain research projects. And
that's a personally important word is support. Because not everybody's a star. Not everybody is, dancing La Vida Loca. That, a little bit of support goes a long way for somebody who's already having, a very tough experience.
Yeah. And, I would say guys are reluctant to talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little tougher because we are talking about guys and we don't like to talk about health. And we certainly don't like to talk about it with other people. But
I just don't like talking about my butt.
Well, yeah. And it's a sensitive subject. But one of the things there. One of the things that we found is, support groups where you can have a group of guys together and they're all kind of going through the same thing or have been through it and are helping others that are now going through it. It helps hugely in the management of stress with this disease.
Oh. Yeah.
And it can also help inform treatment decisions, because we encourage people to go get a second opinion, and you're talking to somebody who's been through something you're about to go through. So, I would encourage anybody that faces a prostate cancer diagnosis to seek out a support group, or even if it's online, wherever. I find the in-person support groups that, those guys become friends, and it's super helpful. But anybody who's going through that, they're out there. And you can actually find support groups near you on our website, and we actually have online support groups if there's not one near you.
Yeah, because so to watch one of the happiest people, most carefree people I know be angry and not be okay with it until somebody said it's okay.
Right. And it's tough going through something like this alone. And it will, like you said, make you pretty angry because why is this happening to me?
Right.
You feel like you're going through it alone, and you're not. I mean, like I said, 3.1 million other people in the United States are going through the same thing right now.
And that's a scary number. And it's
huge.
It is. And the testing alone, I mean, I don't know how much a test is, but I know it's probably more than my car payment.
It's actually, I don't think it's super, super expensive, but what we find is, particularly when we talk about, health equity, is that any cost is a barrier for some people.
Oh, yeah.
And so it doesn't matter if it's a test that's not included. That's a barrier to people getting it.
Yeah. And certainly location and access, because again, with transportation being an issue, having an event where this is something they would want or would have better access getting to.
Absolutely. And that plays into when you catch it. Again, catching prostate cancer early is very important in the treatment of the disease. And if you're not going to the doctor, like for instance, the past 2 years, a lot of people didn't go to the doctor, right? Because of COVID. Well,
right.
We're seeing a big spike in prostate cancer diagnosis because it's been 2 years. And then you go to the doctor and all of a sudden something's wrong. And they could have caught it.
Stop the testing. The numbers will go down.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's so and I think we see that in a lot of different things, but it is happening in prostate cancer as well.
So tell me a little bit more about the race happening here in Wilmington. That's later this month, I believe.
Yeah. So it's coming up real soon. It's coming up on September the 10th. And we're at Longleaf Park. It's a fantastic way to get out and help do something about this disease. We honor patients and survivors at a survivor ceremony. At the event, we have a little gift for veterans who come and attend. Our partners for this are Wilmington Health Urology and Urology Associates of Southeastern North Carolina, both there in Wilmington. And they've been fantastic partners. So it's on September 10th. We get started with registration around 7:30, and then the Kids Dash is at 8:30. That's also sponsored by International Paper. And then the race actually starts at 9. So from about 9 to 10, we give people time to complete the course. And 10 o'clock, we start off with our survivor ceremony and awards. So that's kind of how things are going. We'll be at shelter number 6 at Longleaf Park, September 10th.
And you have a course that pretty much navigates the entire park, I guess?
Yeah. It just goes around the perimeter of the park. And our 1 mile goes out and back.
Wow. That sounds like fun.
It's going to be a great event, and I'll give everybody the website too. It's pretty easy. It's zerocancer.run/Wilmington.
Okay, let me change that here. Because I have zerocancer.org. You have...
Yeah, you can get there from there, but it's a few clicks through. So the direct link is zerocancer.run/Wilmington.
Oh, Wilmington. .run. Wilmington, there we go. I'm working on it. And, wow, I'm trying to think of...
and I guess something else that's really important is it's free. So there's no cost to come out to this. It's absolutely free. And if you want to make a donation, you can make a donation. Anybody who either fundraises or donates more than $50 will get an event t-shirt. So it is free for anybody to come out to.
And that's where the information, because I'm sure you have education materials, because I'm not good with the English language.
Well, we'll have education materials out there. We'll have several of our national sponsors out there, as well as some local ones too. So it should be a good time. Man,
I wish I was going to be there. Unfortunately, I'm going to be here at the station putting stuff together. But anybody who calls 910-444-0281 will get their information forwarded to be at the Longleaf Park, and make sure you get a t-shirt. I mean, that's what I'm going to recommend. Don't come back without a t-shirt, because without a t-shirt, it didn't happen, right?
Right. You got to have proof.
That's right. They're sort of like the I voted sticker, but, it'll last longer.
It does last longer. You can wash it. Great.
And if it gets too old, you can polish the guitar with it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, repurpose it.
Well, man, I don't know if I missed anything, because, again, this is, as you had pointed out, this is not a common subject like war or politics or gender identities or whatever else we like to yell about and clickbait
Well,
with. This is,
what's great is it's not a controversial one, right? I mean, it's something that could affect anybody. That's a man, and
and it doesn't matter if you're conservative or a liberal or a progressive or a purple well, I guess purple hippopotamus wouldn't fall into this. But it's the same idea, is that it's non-discriminatory as far as
right.
who you are, where you come from.
If you got a prostate, you're at risk, essentially, some sort of risk. And again, it's 1 in 8. It's not everybody, but when you look at if there's a history of it in your family, or if you have some other risk factors like being a veteran, pay attention to it. It's something that we really want to get that message out there.
I mean, it's still mind-bending that 20% of the veteran population, active and retired, is at risk.
Yeah. And it's something that we work with in our advocacy portions as well, making sure that there are programs in the VA for veterans who are diagnosed with prostate cancer, and just kind of making sure that standard of care is keeping up with everything in the private sector.
Man, that's got to be one of the biggest battles.
Yeah, it can be, but I'll tell you,
educating the public, they're kind of interested. They know somebody or they're having this experience, but when you go up against legislators and people that live in suits, I just can't see them as being, that interested.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing is to get them interested, right?
Right.
And some have been, some have a personal experience with prostate cancer. So that's easy. But what we do every year is something called the Summit. And in February, we have basically volunteers. So if you've been affected by prostate cancer or a loved one affected by prostate cancer, go to our website, because we always are looking for people to help us advocate. And what these people do is we actually either virtually or in person go meet with congressmen and with senators and lay out the 3 or 4 different things that we're trying to do. And every year, like I said, that funding is one of them that's on there every year. So it's just about making sure that we're talking to them and making sure that they know that it's important and asking them to sign on to these bills.
And it's not just at the federal level. You also have state level legislation that probably gets addressed.
That's correct. And we kind of do that where we have an opening, where we have some interest. And, this year we did some things in Illinois and New Jersey as well. Man.
So to help these people get active and stay active and become a bigger organization to help stamp out and I was trying to remember your tagline and I missed it.
Yeah, there it is. In prostate cancer.
The end of prostate cancer. Well, Matt, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
And I'm glad that, I'm comfortable. What's the word? I'm honored, I guess, that our station has a history with the beginning of Zero Cancer. So that's thank
you guys so much.
Not a problem, man. I look forward to it. So with that in mind, I'm going to let you go because I know you have more to do and to put up with in your own life here in a second. And with that in mind, I think we are going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, I guess I'll have a half hour of bad jokes. With that in mind, don't go nowhere. The Asylum will be right back after these messages. Your refuge in a world gone mad.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. One student is dead, another hospitalized, and a third under arrest after a stabbing during a fight yesterday at Northside High School in Jacksonville. Police Chief Mike Yaniro said Thursday that 2 minors were taken to the hospital with injuries and that one later died after the attack. He said a teacher was also injured but not stabbed. The police department said later Thursday that 3 teens have been charged. Back in the Cape Fear, we are hearing from one of the 3 Sunset Beach police officers treated for secondary exposure to drugs after making an arrest earlier this week. On Sunday, the officers responded to Seaside Road after getting reports about 2 people possibly under the influence of drugs. Both officers wore latex gloves when they came in contact with the suspects and an unknown substance. Officer Anthony Covelli got sick when he was driving one of the suspects to the Brunswick County Detention Center. The incident is still under investigation. The unknown substance was sent to the SBI in Raleigh earlier this week. Some mosquitoes recently trapped by New Hanover County Public Health have tested positive for West Nile virus. The department says the public should not be alarmed, but should be vigilant in protecting themselves from mosquito bites as much as possible. The traps were in 4 different parts of the county. Castle Hayne, near Greenfield on Front Streets, the Middle Sound area, and near Snow's Cut. 2 of the areas are scheduled to be sprayed this week and 1 next week. The Castle Hayne spot is a heavily wooded area. And if you see smoke on Pleasure Island today, don't be alarmed. A controlled burn is scheduled to take place at Carolina Beach State Park. That burn will start around 10 o'clock near the entrance, including the eastern portion of the Sugarloaf Trail around Lily Pond, Grass Pond, and the trails across from the Visitor Center. The park will remain open with the marina, campground, and trails away from the burn area operating as normal. For more on these stories, you can head on over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Friday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 3 forecast. Another toasty one on our hands today as our high temperatures get back up into the upper 80s, but I think we're going to see a great deal of dry time today all the way through the holiday weekend. Not much in the way of wet weather today. Coastal areas will get into the middle 80s for high temperatures. Moderate risk of rip currents for east-facing beaches today, so keep that in mind if you're making plans to head out to the coast. As for tonight, conditions are looking pretty good for high school football games taking shape as temperatures drop down into the low to middle 70s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
Join us this Tuesday at 6 p.m. on All Things Brunswick. Our guest is Brian Wilson, who is running for District Court Judge for Brunswick, Columbus, and Bladen counties. All Things Brunswick, Tuesdays, 6 p.m.
I'm a construction superintendent working on a new housing project in the area. I've always loved being a part of a construction crew, watching the plans come to life. But I wanted more. I went to CFCC and trained in construction management technology. Now my skills allow me to have the life I once dreamed of. I make great money and can get a job anywhere. I got my start at CFCC, and you can too. Visit cfcc.edu/trades and get started today.
Hey Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
It really helps when I can hear what I'm doing. Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. BigTalker.live is the website. BigTalker.live. BigTalker.live, the website. Download the app for Android, iOS devices. You can listen live using the nifty Listen Live tab. Woo! Peruse our schedule of content right there on the website. You can even scroll through and play back some of your favorite programs, audio, video, all that right there at your fingertips. You know, and you can program your digital home assistant, Siri, Alexa, Google, all those things to look up the Big Talker website and start the stream to start your day. It's pretty awesome. I promise. You'll love it. It's a way of life. And if you stay tuned, I promise the Big Talker Network will be bringing more and more programming. And we will be expanding further into the fields of video programming, documentaries, and such like that. It'll be exciting. Until then, it's just me. Yeah. In fact, somebody had just mentioned recently that the best part of my program is when I'm not talking. And I agree, right? Because usually when I'm not talking, it's because a person much smarter than me is responding to a stupid question. Now, technically, no question is stupid. But when you are stupid, you're asking questions to fill in the void of knowledge. So there have been times I've been called stupid, and I had to agree. You're right. I'm stupid. In this subject, I am stupid. I am uneducated, but, if you want to use the word stupid, I'm not going to argue, right? I mean, that's just how it works. If you don't know a subject and suddenly you're confronted with it, you start out stupid. Kind of like when you first saw a spoon. I know you don't remember it because it usually occurs before cognitive development of memories, right? So some of the things like learning how to poop, learning how to use a spoon, not in the same room. You were stupid. Whatever your field of expertise is, now, at one time you knew nothing about it. You were stupid. And now maybe you're the best at it, whatever. But you were still, at one time, stupid. And all of us need to just embrace the fact that we are stupid to some degree in different subjects, aspects, facets. I'm stupid when it comes to social interactions. I'm awkward, right? Doesn't make me a bad guy. It makes me a really good radio guy. Well, not personality, but got the personality of a brick. So, having guests on, and I mean, that's one of the, so when we come back on Monday, right, because we're winding down the Friday before this holiday, Monday, Bill and I will be chatting. I don't know if Paul will be in town. We will find out over the weekend. But I'll be here. Then on Tuesday, I'm very excited to have a smart person from my homeland, Nuevo Mexico. Yeah, that's right. I was born in New Mexico. One of the few native English-speaking white people in the state. That's a joke. And the thing is, they won't get upset. That's what's funny, right? Only white people get upset at jokes. I don't know why that is. They insult Chinese people, they'll laugh. It's not like your degree. They're just like, okay, that's more a reflection on you than me, but okay. Right? As Tuesday on All Things Brunswick, Denny, I can't remember, Reykjavik, I think. Danny, the guest, was talking about, we need to be able to laugh at ourselves. And we need to understand that when people are laughing at us, it's, again, more of a reflection on them than on the person they're laughing at. Unless, of course, they've actually deserved being laughed at. And I have to admit, myself included, wardrobe choices are fair game. Can I just make that a rule now? Because if you wear stupid in public, you better be performing, man. Because, for example, if you're bebopping down the store to pick up some Slim Jims in a full Adam Ant regalia, I'm going to laugh at you. But if you're in that same regalia and you're fronting something, like maybe you're a carny barker, maybe you're the lead singer in the band or whatever, then I'm going to give you some mad props and respect. But yeah, unless there's a reason for you to be wearing that in the general populace, I'm going to laugh at you. But people laugh at me because I wear some of the same denim shorts I've been wearing for 30 years. Only because I cannot find any in the modern age that fit me. So you can laugh all you want. These things are comfortable. And again, they laugh and it's on them, not me. When I'm laughing at Adam Ant, when he was in regalia and on stage, man, he put on a great show. I never got to see one in person. I did get to see one of the MTV Live deals with him, or featuring him, his project. Man, that show was, it was softcore porn is what it was with two drummers. It was really, really strange. But that's what we do here at the Asylum. Sorry, today's news package that I get from a friend of mine yielded absolutely no results. Sorry, I have to answer a question here. I have to. It's a guessing game. So I was asked to guess, and I did. So I'm just waiting to see what I won. I don't know yet, but it looks like, oh, who is that guy? Almost looks like Pat Travers on bass. Yep. If you ever want to know what's important to a person, look no further than what they are working on, what they are paying attention to, what they are doing. Right? If they show up early and they're bright-eyed, bushy-tails and all, and their phone is off, right? They're not staring into their phone, walking in 5 minutes late. There's some small things. And it's kind of hard to be involved in a conversation, a meeting, when you're discussing, your very future, and the person you're delivering your content to is sitting there staring at their phone. It's like, yeah, it's obviously not important. I mean, it happens a lot, and I get it. If life is important, it would have been more polite to say, "Give me a second. This is important. I have to deal with this." Because it lets me know that paying attention to what I'm saying is as important and needs its time, but he has an emergency. Take care of the emergency. Let me know. Simple things, little things. The types of respect, doing what you say you're going to do, which is, it seems to be a point of grifting as well, right? Where you hire somebody to do a bunch of work and then you don't bother paying them, right? And cause it to become a lawsuit, and then claim that as a result of the lawsuit, you got a better deal, so you're not paying near as much to the person who did the work, but the lawyers sure made a boatload of money. Would have probably cost less just to pay the bill in the first place, but instead you pay the guy half as much and then pay your lawyers twice as much. That's not a win. That's how you bankrupt a casino. If it's important, it'll show. If it's not important, it'll show. That's true of your politicians. That's true of your church. That's true of your city council. That's true of your current and former administrative leaders or elected representatives, right? This is true for all of it. And it's not like we can dock their pay or get our money back. We're boned. These people, again, first thing they do when they get into office is they start trying to stay in office because they have no marketable skill. I mean, I don't think at any point name recognition should be a component when choosing a representative. So when that guy from the reality show, yeah, that was real, decided he was going to run for office, and people were saying, well, you got the name recognition. I was like, anybody who voted for him, man, that's just, you've lost all touch with reality, man. We need to stop making stupid people famous. We need to start looking for people that have solutions, people that are involved with stuff. I mean, as an example, Matt Miller, who we just had as a guest, this project is important to him all the way into him. You know what I'm saying? It's as much a part of him as breathing. So I bet he's going to be one of the very first people there. I mean, he's going to be in town ahead of time, just to be there ahead of time. That's how you know it's important to him. Not just because he said it, because he's doing what it takes to make sure that he's ahead of the game, that he's got a good handle. And he may not even be the guy in charge, but damn it, it's important to him. He wants to make sure it's good. He's going to support it. He's going to help it. And the fact that the whole project is about support, that gets me going. I mean, every one of these patients is going to require a lot of support. Dare I say, they will need a lot of cello players. Because when you learn to support something, you learn to understand what is needed before it is needed and can provide it. Be there, ready, right? You know they're about to crack and start crying. I've already got tissues and a cold drink ready. Been through that. Oh yeah, my phone rang at 2 a.m. My door knocked at 3 a.m. Come on in, man. I got you. And there's 3.1 million men right now, I believe was what he said. I need to get a notepad. Start writing this stuff down. Running support. Being supportive. That's what representatives are supposed to do for us, the constituents. So, if we don't hold them to that value, they will never honor that value. This is true no matter who you vote for, how you vote, whatever criterion you have. There has to be a sense of support involved. Right? A lot of people get bent out of shape when we talk about community. Such an inclusive word. We need an inclusive community. So, community is a concept, right? Where the community can be your home. Community could be your street, your neighborhood, your village, your town, your city, your county, your state, the community of North Carolina, the community of the Carolinas, the communities of the Southeast Coast, or the community of America, or the global community. Or is that one weird dude, L. Ron Hubbard, talked about a global village? And these are some pretty extreme philosophies in a very nonviolent sense. In fact, just the opposite. The more that we can connect without bias, the more effective we will become. Right, because part of his thing, this is back before there was an internet, but computers were at least starting to, stabilize, programmers and such were starting to come together and say, all right, we need to find a way to make these computers compatible at least with their data. The programming can be different, the hardware can be different, but the data that we're working with needs to be standardized in some way. Around that same time, the Buckminster Fuller, that's the cat, I'm sorry, not the other guy. It's Buckminster Fuller, Bucky Balls, that's who I'm thinking of. He's the one who came up with Global Village, my bad. So, Buckminster posited, prognosticated that it would be possible to exchange knowledge with people to whom or with whom we might otherwise have a bias that we recognize or not, if that makes sense. The idea was that you could sit down at a computer terminal and have a conversation with somebody else at a computer terminal without knowing anything about them. Be able to ask questions, get answers, be educated, that sharing of information. You would never hear an accent, so you wouldn't know if they were from India or Texas, right? You wouldn't see them, so being a man, a woman, a black, yellow, or green wouldn't matter. All you would have is your interaction through the keyboard. Not long after that, not long after I became more familiar with his concept of global village. And the reason why that popped up was because one of the earliest at-home dial-up phone modems for AOL was made by Global Village, a company called Global Village. And I looked it up and discovered that it was a Buckminster Fuller concept. Read a little further into it, and it was like a Turing test mashed with a IQ test, I guess. You're not talking to a computer, you're talking to a person, but now you have absolutely no way of ascertaining what they look like, how they dress, what they sound like, any of that. And that would allow us to have a global village without bias. Unfortunately, the engineers, brilliant as they may be, brought instant live video chat to the process as quickly as they could. Thank you. Ruin the idea for any of that. In some cases, it's a good thing. That way we can have guests like Matt Miller on. But in some cases, maybe it's not a good thing. It sort of negates the idea behind the global village, unless we can come up with that as a forum or a platform where people would be willing to communicate without having to do the, so are you a blonde? Age check. I remember 8 tracks. Right? You don't have to do any of that. All of those biases are negated, and it's reduced to the simple communication. And to that end, I find it interesting that the 21st century has reverted to prehistoric times in our communication. That is, we now use a standard set of hieroglyphs when communicating with the general public. We have just stopped using letters and words altogether. Now we have cave paintings. If you don't believe me, look at a school crosswalk. A number of them around here, they don't even have the little sign underneath that says pet Xing or school Xing. Nope, they just got the little silhouette of the motherish figure and the childish figure in mid-stride. When was the last time you saw the word play on a media device? It's been replaced with a green right-pointing arrow. When was the last time you saw stop, right? Or how about on and off on the first time I noticed it was on a copy machine working in the office way back in the 80s, and I was like, yo, what's with the 1-0? Now, if you look at a power button, it looks like a circle, mostly with a vertical line coming down the top. That's actually 1-0. Switch. That's now the international symbol for on-off. Switch. On or off, 1 or 0. That's how it works. Using other cave paintings like, the weird triangular body shape for the women's bathroom and the weird boxy shape for the men's bathroom. We don't even bother putting men and women on there. Right? We're just, do not exit, right? We just have a circle with a line through it. It's just, we've reduced our need to read. I mean, the next time you go to McDonald's, never mind. If you go to McDonald's, never mind. But if you do go to a McDonald's and you're at the little walk-up menu, do this to blow. Oh, it'll blow their mind. Walk up and ask for the picture menu. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. They got a picture menu. You can point to that. I don't know where I can't read, but I know that's what I want right there. Now, it is beneficial, certainly, for people that have language barrier issues. Certainly with, for example, hearing and speech impaired or foreign language. You know, I don't know what it's called in your language. We call it a wakalanga, but it's actually a Big Mac, so, you know. But most of the time, it's to pander to the lowest common denominator, which is why there are so many battery-powered carts at Walmart. Now, I get it when somebody's had knee surgery and they need to pick up a few things, right? But I've seen some people who are using, I have seen people using those